On today's show, the Mavericks still have not shut down this Jason Kidd story. The Knicks have interest. Kidd has interest. And we've got reports and rumors. And I know how this is going to end. We'll talk about that and more in today's Locked On Mavs. Stop it! Stop! The number one pick will go to the Dallas Mavericks. Cooper Flagg will fly in Dallas.
Dogs, all of us, all five.
You are Locked On Mavs. Great, your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave.
Your team every day.
I'm going to get a city like that.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years. Thanks for reading every day or making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. The first one. The first listen that you make the first one. First listen. Today's episode is brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONNBA to get $20 off your first purchase. And joining me from DLLS Mavs, it's KG Jr. What you got for me, Kevin Gray?
I like what you did. Okay, so look, for those of you who loved Locked On and are part of the Raccoon Squad, I'm part of the Raccoon Squad as well. You can also listen to the DLLS Mavs podcast. You don't have to choose.
It just has to be second.
It could be first. It could be second. Just listen to it. Give it a 5-star rating and write a review while you're there. That's all I ask. That's all I ask.
Can't be plugging the reviews on a different show.
You invited me here. This is your fault.
Very fair. Very fair. Today's episode, we're going to get into the kid story. The Athletic, Christian Clark, our friend, dropped another report on everything going on with Jason Kidd and the Knicks, and we've got some new intel on it, so we'll talk about that. We'll also just talk about Cooper Flagg, why he's life-altering for the Mavericks. We'll talk about Gafford and PJ and all kinds of stuff like that, and we'll get into that a little later. But let's start here, Kevin Gray. I'm exhausted at this point of this whole thing because it could have ended. It could have ended days ago. You know why it could have ended and why it easily could have ended is because the Houston Rockets ended it days ago. They could be going through the same thing right here. Stephen A. Smith could have had a segment on First Take. Which coaching vacancy is more attractive, the Rockets or the Knicks? Instead, he did one about the Mavericks or the Knicks. And the Mavericks have a coach under contract. And yet here from The Athletic, Christian Clark and Sam Amick came together with The Athletic and said, according to team and league sources, the Mavericks continue to privately insist to key stakeholders that Kidd won't be going anywhere. Again, the Knicks haven't requested permission officially to speak with Kidd as of Tuesday. And again, the widely held belief is that Kidd ultimately is hoping to parlay a Knicks interest into a lucrative contract extension. And Kevin, that's how it's all going to end. I've been saying that almost since the beginning. It's going to end in a Kidd contract extension.
I mean, I'm sure Kidd hopes that's the case, right? I mean, you're referencing, the Athletic reporting. Obviously, our guy Mark Stein has continuously said that Kidd is not trying to get out of Dallas. He's not angling to try to get this job in New York. But at the same time, the Mavericks have left all of this up to speculation by simply not using a very common word in the English language, which is the word no. Like no one.
You have a kid, right? You taught him that word. Did she have like a stage where she just said no to everything? My little sister had that.
The word no is a powerful word in a positive way. Like you could tell folks no if you don't want to do something, but also if you feel that strongly about something that shouldn't happen, you could say no as well. Like there are a lot of things that could happen by using that word, and the Mavericks just simply privately or publicly just won't say that to end it, because you're right. The Rockets came out very strongly. Again, our guy Mark Stein had reported that the Rockets said, right away, if the Knicks try to call Ime Udoka, don't try it. We're not having it. We're building something here with our guy. And the Mavericks could have simply done that a week ago now, and they chose not to, and they left it all up to speculation. And now here we are, still a week later, a week before they invite Cooper Flagg to Dallas for his official visit, still talking about this.
The thing that and shout out to Christian Clark, trusted reporter, all that. The last sentence of this is that the Mavericks have downplayed the possibility of a Kidd Brunson reunion this week. The belief internally in Dallas is that Kidd will be the team's coach next season. And why is the belief internally? Why is it the belief? They have the control. The Mavericks have the control to come out and, like you said, use the power of the 2-letter word, N-O. Use that word. Here's my theory. This is not sourced. This is just me reading tea leaves. This is me throwing the tea in the teacup and then reading what it comes out to. You know, like how they do that. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at the lines on the palm. I'm trying to read it. I think that Nico has not talked about this with reporters or anybody. He's not the one floating out all this stuff. That it's everybody else, because it's always been like, league sources, a source close to the team. Stein's was like, what was Stein's, like a few well-placed observers.
That's right.
What Stein used
well-placed observers. That's right.
That Nico has not come out and definitively said to the people around him what he's going to do about this. And everyone's just sitting around guessing, because he's the ultimate say in what's going to happen, right? Obviously the ownership and Patrick Dumont has the ultimate say, but I don't know if he's gotten involved yet. Do you think he knows this story is happening right now?
I'm sure he'll consult Shaq about it first before he makes ultimate decision, I guess.
I think that Nico has not come out and said what they're going to do yet. And everyone's just kind of like, we think this is going to happen, but we also thought that Luka was still going to be on the team. We also thought many, many things about this. And I think that's where the weird, nebulous ending of this, so their current state of this all is.
Well, imagine your GM being such a pariah that he can't come out and talk and definitively say that, no, my head coach is actually staying in Dallas. You're right. The control lies within Nico Harrison, who's the czar of basketball operations for this team, to say, no, Jason Kidd is staying here. Not only is he staying here, we reaffirm our commitment to him. And, oh, by the way, we're going to take it a step further and give him a contract extension on top of the one he already has, to let you know that he's going to be the coach for now and for the future Cooper Flagg. For the foreseeable future. And he can't even come out and say it, because if he does say something, folks are going to jump all over him because he's talking.
But it's not like Rafael Stone for the Rockets came out publicly and said this. You just need to float it. You just need to float exactly what you want out. That's it. You just need to float it to Stein. Stein wasn't like, Rafael Stone told me personally that they will deny an interview request. It is so weird to me. I get where Jason Kidd is coming from this side of it. I think that it is a leverage play for Jason Kidd. He's like, hey, I'm interested in this other job. And do you want a coach that has interest in other places? And I have this offer from the Knicks. It could be tampering, and we're not going to publicly say that I have this offer from the Knicks, but I am interested in this offer from the Knicks. But I won't air the dirty laundry or do anything, and I'll stay here and do all that if you give me a contract extension. And that's, again, what the Athletic reported. It's widely believed that ultimately Kidd is hoping to parlay the Knicks' interest into a lucrative contract extension. McMahon said that he thought the same thing. I'm with them, that I think this ends in that. It is still kind of weird to me, where the leverage is coming from Jason Kidd. He is under contract. And so is it I don't know, I'll leave after the year after next, because that's as long as his deal is. Does the interest from the Knicks threaten the Mavericks in any way? It is kind of odd that there is leverage at all to this, but that's what it appears to be on the surface.
Yeah, the leverage is that there is a team who just went to the conference finals is pursuing this coach, and they have paid the Knicks I'm talking about. They paid Tom Thibodeau $30 million to go away. So imagine what they could offer Jason Kidd to become the head coach on a 5-year deal. Let's just throw a number out there. They could give Jason Kidd $60 million over the next 5 years and continue to be one of the highest paid coaches in the NBA. And, oh, by the way, he would be working for a team that employs the dude who just won NBA Trainer of the Year again, in Casey Smith. So I think there's a lot of things that Kidd could look at the situation and say, hey, that's a pretty good one over there in New York. And the irony being that there is actually stability in New York where James Dolan is running a team. But they love him so much in New York that I would imagine, feel pretty comfortable if he went to New York to be their head coach, because of all the existing relationships that are there, but also the team that he has that he would be coaching, led by the guy who helped get paid when he left Dallas to go to New York. And I want to float this out to you, because if you're the Mavericks, why am I even entertaining the idea of giving the Knicks something else when they've already tampered with a player who used to play for me and then walked to New York when Daddy got hired and say, you know what, actually, I'm going to go play, with Dad and the New York Knicks over here. That's the part that strikes me. Is as soon as this report got floated out by our guy Stein, if I'm the Mavericks, hell no, I'm not talking to the Knicks. You're not going to get to talk to the Knicks because we've already had a complicated relationship as it is. Where do you stand on that particular front?
I know why the Mavs are doing this in a way. And I'm going to talk about that and explain that next. Come on. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Wayfair. There's nothing like stepping into your own outdoor space and feeling like you've escaped to a personal oasis. I don't know if people feel about their yards that way. You should, though. You should feel about it. I feel like most people go out to their yards and go, "Oh, I got to edge. I got to weed. I got to mow. I got to do all this stuff." But anyway, Wayfair will help you to fix that problem and to fix the spaces that maybe look tired and worn out. Wayfair has everything you need to level up your outdoor space. Conversation sets. Is a conversation set of furniture something that is a conversation piece, or you have a conversation sitting in the set? Outdoor bars, fire pits, hot tubs, gazebos, and yes, even the perfect string lights to set the vibe. It's like giving your backyard that resort feel without the resort price tag. All kinds of great stuff. I've used Wayfair before. Fast, free, totally hassle-free shipping. Delivery is awesome. Gets right to your door. You don't have to figure out if this box is going to fit in your car. That's the thing about IKEA, is like you're trying to figure out if it fits in your car, and you don't know until you get out there. Don't wait. Make your outdoor space your dream oasis today with Wayfair and enjoy it all summer long. Head to wayfair.com right now and shop a huge selection of outdoor items. That's Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. We appreciate each and one of you for checking out the show. That's what we call our listeners. KG mentioned earlier, the Raccoon Squad is what we call our listeners. Do you call your listeners the vowelless? What do you call them?
The DLLS Mavs Nation is who we are.
Yikes. That rolls off the tongue real well.
Well, when you say it 1,000 times over the last several months, it just rolls off the tongue. At that
Don't you have the diehard card, though? Like, isn't that?
That's right. Your physical diehard card.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
right.
That's
I should have had it with me to show it off, but
that's cool. The Mavs should have shut it down, just like Dirk
Shut it
said.
down.
Shut it down. Let's go home. They should have done this. To me, I'm gonna place another theory here about why the Mavericks are allowing this to continue. Because Kevin, you called me earlier today. We were talking about this story, and we're just going back and forth, basically yelling at each other. Like, why is this still happening? Why are we still talking about this? And that's why we're doing this.
Am I on crazy pills? Why is this still happening?
Why are we doing this show?
Jeez.
So the Mavericks could be okay with Jason Kidd leaving. They've got Sean Sweeney in the house, and he's maybe the coach in waiting to step up. And maybe they're like, hey, Kidd has great relationships with these players. We think Kyrie and AD are at the point where, all right, maybe if they decide that they don't want to be with the Mavs anymore, we've got this Cooper Flagg thing to move on with. We'll run it. We'll run it the timeline that we've got now. We'll run it, and we'd be great doing that. But it'd be okay. We'd be okay with us if we move forward into this next phase with Sean Sweeney as the head coach, with Cooper Flagg as the star player and the focal point, with getting the assets maybe we could get for these other guys if they don't want to stay because Jason Kidd's not there anymore. And then the Mavs are like, all right, well, maybe we won't deny the Knicks' request because we can leverage then this and leverage our ability to say no to their request to get the Knicks to send the Mavericks something back. Because Kidd has been part of a coaching trade before where I think it was from the Nets to the Bucks, and they got a couple of picks out of that. And, Doc Rivers has done one before where they got a first round pick over there. The Celtics got one from the Clippers. Like, this has happened before where a coach has been traded. And I wonder if the Mavericks are like, we'd be okay if Kidd left, and let's leverage this situation to try and get some assets. And then if we have to start over and we have to do the full rebuild thing, like, Kidd left and our hands are tied and we've got Cooper Flagg, and now this is the state that we're in.
See, and I've heard folks, talk about the idea that if they were to let Kidd walk to New York, that would signal that the team would be triggering a rebuild. Nico Harrison doesn't strike me as someone who, if he's got 3 years left doing this job, that he wants to start completely all the way over. And he would want to find a head coach, Frank Vogel, that has coached someone like Anthony Davis and wouldn't mind coaching, Kyrie Irving either. So
Fair.
Even if Kidd walked, I think they would still remain in the mode of, we've got to try to win as much as we can with this core. And then whatever happens from there before we don't have control of our picks, from 27, through 30. And I think compensation would be coming either way. If Kidd decides to go there, the Knicks would need to compensate the Mavericks for allowing Jason Kidd to be let out of his contract to coach in New York. So, I don't necessarily buy the idea that if they let Kidd walk, it triggers a rebuild, because Harrison doesn't seem like a guy that's interested in doing any of that, given the situation that he's put himself in at this point.
Is this the only NBA situation in history where we talked about the expiring contract of the GM?
Well, he did that himself by saying,
that's what I mean. Like, when have we talked about like, oh, the GM's only got a couple of years left? We've talked about it metaphorically and saying that he only has a couple years left because the owner will only have a couple more years left of dealing with, Sam Hinkie with the process. Like, all right, we're gonna only deal with this a certain amount of time, and then he's gone. Okay, Daryl Morey, other places like, all right, we can only deal with a certain amount of time, and then it's out, and we've got to move on and move forward. But if the GM brought it up himself.
The GM has made himself the face of the organization. He has put the timeline in place that if this doesn't happen within the 3-year window, whether you look at it through the lens of Anthony Davis's contract, if Kyrie Irving signs a similar 3-year deal where he's in that window as well, that, he's out of here. And whomever gets to inherit the theoretical mess that would be left in the wake of Nico Harrison trying to win a championship with his guy Anthony Davis and so on and so forth, they would get to be the ones to clean that up. So, the other thing I'll say is that Nico Harrison did not hire Jason Kidd. In fact, Nico Harrison wasn't even hired by Patrick Dumont. Those two individuals were hired by Mark Cuban. So Patrick Dumont, if he ultimately looked at it and decided, actually, I don't want either one of you around, depending on what happens this upcoming season, he could do that. That would be another reason why, if I'm Jason Kidd, do I want to be tied to a future that could see me out of a job as soon as potentially this upcoming season, at the end of this upcoming season, if I don't get it done around here, because Harrison may not be on the way, be here as well if Dumont decides to, move on from him. But I think the way this is going, Dumont will continue to ride it out with Nico to figure out what is going to happen with this, plan going forward, and Jason Kidd, being a part of that if that is the case. Talk about
like the pressure. The Knicks coach just made the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in a long time for them, and then he got fired. Like, to me, it is weird. Like, okay, that's going to be a better situation with less pressure or with more leeway. Like, I don't see that. I also, though, think that Jason Kidd would be a very easy scapegoat next season if things don't go well. Maybe they can go to the injury well again, but if Nico's like, all right, well, it's not really going okay, we just need a new voice in the locker room. I could see him doing that and pulling that at a certain point. And so I could see Jason Kidd thinking that, all right, well, maybe I should go somewhere else because I could be easily the scapegoat here. Rick Carlisle basically did that when he left the Mavericks.
Yeah, and if he went to New York, I mean, the pressure gets ratcheted up 10 times, if he goes to New York. But one of the things, our guy Mark Stein said, is that the Knicks are looking for a guy who used to be a player who's turned himself into a terrific coach. And by all accounts, a lot of the criteria that the Knicks supposedly are looking for, Jason Kidd fits, which is why I guess the pursuit would be there for him. But if you're the Mavericks and you believe that the relationship between Kidd and Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving is so important that those two players want to play for Jason Kidd, you would have shut this down a week ago and said, this is the guy that we want moving forward because our two best players want to play for this guy, and we believe that he gives us the best chance to win. And even the evidence of this past year, the guys played for him. They played for Jason Kidd. There was nothing about the locker room being lost. Kidd still has the voice and the pulse of that locker room, which I think should be a very encouraging sign to the Mavericks that, hey, this is the guy that can lead us now in the immediate, but also in the future as well.
You ever seen that lizard that has the frilled neck that just like pops out? The one from Rescuers Down Under, where it's like, and the neck comes out big, and it's like this big like umbrella looking thing. That's what everybody is doing. Jason Kidd's doing that. The Knicks are doing that. The Mavs are doing that. They're all just kind of like standing around like trying to out intimidate each other and trying to out posture each other. That's what I feel like.
What's the scene from The Office where everyone's just holding up the imaginary guns? It's just like everybody's just looking around.
I'm not going down for this.
Exactly. That's what it feels like everyone's doing. The Knicks, Jason Kidd, and everyone's just pointing at each other like this is not happening.
Jim, grab our stuff. Turn on and start the car.
That's right.
Dwight's got dual crossbows. Minor crossbows. So funny. There's more to this story. The last thing I want to say here is that James Edwards in The Athletic the day before was talking about the Knicks side of it. And he said, furthermore, Kidd didn't always enjoy being Dallas' spokesperson in the aftermath of the franchise trading Luka Doncic, per league sources. And there is some that Kidd may not want to be in this job anymore. Now, the Sam Amick report and other reports have said that he's been at the practice facility. He's been doing everything. Obviously, he went on the interview with you guys. He's done interview. He went on Dan Patrick. He's been doing these interviews for the Mavericks and representing the Mavericks and all that. So he's been playing the company man card, but maybe behind the scenes, he's like, I kind of am done with this, and let's see if I can leverage my way out of this. I wouldn't put it past Kidd because we've seen what Kidd has done in the past, right? And it's all been pretty like above board so far here in Dallas. But we've seen situations with the Nets, with the Bucks. Like I was talking to our Locked On Bucks people about this, and they're like, "Oh yeah, of course, of course, this is happening." why are you guys surprised this is happening with Jason Kidd?
The only thing that strikes me as odd about that is that if Kidd went to New York, he is by far the loudest spokesperson that would need to be front and center because none of them talk. Leon Rose doesn't talk.
Yeah, he don't talk.
James Dolan for sure as hell doesn't talk.
He sings.
So
though.
Jason Kidd would be the spokesperson every day talking on behalf of the New York Knicks. So if he theoretically doesn't like doing it here, my guy, you might not necessarily enjoy that in New York where the pressure to talk would be there all the time because you would be the mouthpiece for the organization because none of the dudes who actually matter do any of the talking in New York City.
The last part of this report is the only message we've kind of heard from Nico Harrison is that according to a league source, Maverick general manager Nico Harrison made it clear to Jay Triano, who got hired recently, according to Mike Curtis, he's officially been hired. During the process, that Kidd would remain the head coach. Triano, the league source, agreed to terms to be an assistant coach on Tuesday for the Mavericks. And so at least we've heard from Nico that he thinks that Jason Kidd will be the coach. But again, go back to everything we just said and talked about. Why does he think and why doesn't he know it's in his control to do so? Coming up, let's get into the rest of what's happening with the Mavericks. Let's talk about PJ and Gafford. Let's talk about Cooper Flagg and everything else happening with the Mavs. Talk about that and more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and go see something happen this summer. All kinds of things happening all over the place. I opened GameTime, and in DFW, if you're here, there is this is what a quad group of events happening on the front of GameTime right now. Shakira at Globe Life Field, White Sox at Rangers Globe Life Field, Packers at Cowboys AT&T Stadium coming up. Wu-Tang Clan at Dickies Arena. What a quad group of events. CONCACAF Cup, Pierce the Veil, NBA Youngboy, Luke Bryan. There's just like I can just keep naming a bunch of things that are happening. You can find that all on GameTime. Check out the GameTime app, and you can get NFL seats. You can get great seats for as low as $100 thanks to exclusive discounts. And with GameTime Guarantee, your tickets are 100% authentic, will arrive on time. You'll always get the best price with fees included, so you see what you pay right up front. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create that account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the GameTime app. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, KG, we're talking about Jason Kidd, and I'm done talking about it today. I'm done. I only got 2 segments of it in me. That's it. I don't need any more.
We got to go see Wu-Tang Clan at Dickies Arena.
I was going through, there's so many random things happening in Dallas. I was like, dang. Game time.
Love it.
All right. Mark Stein also had a report recently that the Mavericks would prefer to keep PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. Is that possible? Yes or no, Kevin Gray?
Is it possible? Sure. Is it something that I think is feasible? No, I don't think. Oh, I love Family Feud. That's good. I don't think it's feasible. I don't know if it's feasible because if you're going to look for a potential starter at the guard position until Kyrie Irving gets back, you got to give up something good to get something good. And either PJ or Daniel Gafford might be what you have to give up in order to get something of that caliber. Because, I mean, let's face it. I mean, you know this. I mean, they have a surplus in the front court right now, especially at the center position, the forward center position. So you need a starter guard, a starting level guard until Kyrie Irving gets back. And you might have to give up something good in order to get something good.
That's the thing, is you got to give up something good to get something good. I wouldn't want to trade PJ or Gafford either. Of course, the Mavs want to keep them and keep their strength, their front court and all that. But now you have multiple centers that will all play. They all want to play a bunch. Lively, AD, Gafford. That's feasible. That could work. But also your closing player is probably AD at the 5. And so now you have 2 starting level centers that won't close. That's not great for roster building. Then you have, Cooper Flagg coming in, and PJ and him basically play the same position and basically, play that. And so you've just got you got a positional glut in a couple of places, and you have a very big position of need. I mean, I don't know how many more times we can say it on this show that they need a guard. You cannot walk into this season with Brandon Williams, Dante Exum, Spencer Dinwiddie again, right? Like, I always saw how that played out at the end of last season, and I don't know that a training camp is going to fix that guard rotation after what we saw in the play-in games. You've got to come in with something better than that.
Yeah, and the prices for the kind of starting caliber guard that you're looking for is expensive. So whether you're theoretically trying to give up a first-round pick and pay Drew Holiday the kind of money that you would need to pay him with this contract that he still has with Boston, I'm just using him as an example, but you're going to have to pay significantly in order to get that kind of guard, and you're going to have to give up something of real value to get it. That's unfortunately what the Kyrie Irving injury has put them in the position to have to do. And not only think about the present, but in some ways think about your long-term future at that position as well, given what he's coming back from in terms of his torn ACL and what that means for the next couple of years, for him going forward here.
Yeah, because I hope and I expect Kyrie to come back and be 100%
Sure.
and be that player, but he's also going to be 34 when he comes back, probably.
Mm-hmm.
He turns 34 in March, so about to be turning 34 probably around that time.
Yeah, when he comes back, yeah.
And that's, I mean, there's been guards that have been elite still into that age. Obviously, we've seen Chris Paul recently do it.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen Kyle Lowry be really good and late in his career. We've seen John Stockton be really good late into his career. We've seen guys be really good late into their career, but we've also seen guys like Allen Iverson and others hit a point where you go, ooh, it's just not the same. It's just not hitting the same. It's not the same guy anymore. And coming back from an injury is tough. And so it is going to be a whole interesting situation. I want to talk about Cooper Flagg with you, though. Why is he life altering for the Mavericks? And what's the thing that's been sticking out with you the most as you think about Cooper Flagg on the Mavs? Like, what's the area? Could be on the court, could be off the court, anything.
Okay, Raccoon Squad, don't get mad at me, but I think this is a really good thing. Cooper Flagg is boring as hell. You listen to him talk, you listen to his interviews. My man doesn't necessarily have a lot of personality. I think it will continue to come out as the days and the months and the years go on. But I'm actually okay with that. Like, my man is clearly about that ball. He's clearly about that action and is in the gym, working out in the dunes and, whatever he's doing, which I'm fine with. If he's got that kind of maniacal work ethic, that kind of personality where it's like, look, man, this is all about the ball. This is what I'm here for. This is what I'm here to do. Cool, man. Like, I'm with it. So, well, yeah, we haven't seen a lot of the Cooper Flagg personality. I think there is some there that will come out eventually. But my man seems like he's about that business and that action, and I like it. So I'm excited to get to know what the Cooper Flagg experience is going to be like as we get closer and closer, not only to the draft, but obviously, once he officially becomes a Dallas Maverick, because I'm excited to see what else. I mean, he's only 18. I mean, you talked about it recently.
Wild. He
won't even be 19 until December. So he's going to be extremely young coming into this team, and I'm excited to see what his personality will look like as it grows.
Did you say he was working out in the dunes?
He was working out like running in sand or something like that. I don't know. It looked like it.
Lisan Al-Gaib?
I don't know, man.
Oh, that's from Dune. That's what they call Timothée Chalamet's character. That's what they call him in Dune because he's the leader of like their
I haven't seen Dune, so sorry.
That joke hit with someone out there.
I'm about to say, I'm sure it definitely hit with somebody.
If that joke hit with somebody out there, comment below on YouTube or wherever. Yeah, he brings stability. Like, he's going to bring some kind of stability, and it's wild to say from a rookie, but he's going to bring stability both on the court and off the court because of this boringness, like you mentioned, because it's just he's just going to go out there, do his work, and that's it. And there's not the crazy swings that we've been dealing with the last couple of months here for the Mavericks.
Gives me Kawhi Leonard vibe. Vibe. I mean, we've seen Kawhi, some of his personality come out as the years have gone on. Fun guy, gets, all that other stuff. But Kawhi for a while there was like, we thought that cat was a cyborg. Like, he just literally just goes on the floor, dominates you for 4 quarters, and then goes home. And then comes back and does it again the next night.
The craziest thing about Kawhi was that fake Apple story. You remember the Apple story on Twitter?
The fake Apple story. Oh, no, I forgot about this.
Okay, so there's a story about Kawhi that somebody like, They fake screenshotted an ESPN article, right? They're like, look, the same font and everything. And it said, While with the Spurs, Kawhi was known for his love of red apples. One time, after practice, everyone decided to go out for a team dinner. When it was his turn to order, Kawhi waved off the waiter and instead pulled out a bag of 12 apples. Coach Popovich asked what he was doing, and Kawhi simply replied, "Apple time. Apple time." And then he ate all 12 apples with a knife and fork.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. I don't know why.
That was the craziest thing about Kawhi. It was a fake story, and that just shows like why Kawhi is like because no one knows anything about him, right? And you just
anything, he's a fun guy.
I'm a fun guy.
Fun guy.
Cooper Flagg is going to bring stability. I think that's why he's light faltering for the Mavericks, and it's a future that I'm very excited for because it is going to be. It's so easy to build around him. You can put literally any player. Think about he fits with any player. I was trying to think through every playoff team, like every playoff team he would fit on there. And you can't say that about every player. Not every center, not every like ball dominant guard could you say he fits on every single team. Cooper Flagg will fit on every team.
Yeah, we had ESPN Seth Greenberg, who obviously has covered the ACC for a long time, so he watched every single game that Cooper Flagg played. And one of the things he kept harping on was it's just the versatility of the guy. He can play multiple positions. He can guard down. He can guard up. He's got length that allows him to cover space. Like he's got all the physical tools, but he's got the basketball IQ to go with it to where you can plug him in today and he can go out there and be a really solid player for you. And if defense, Nico, wins championships, I mean, the foundation of having that young man and the motor that he has, it's going to be fun to watch him grow into all those things and mature into all of that as he gets older as a player. And what he's still growing. I think this is a hot take of mine too. I still think Cooper Flagg has another maybe couple inches to still grow. Like thanks, Kyrie. I think he still has a chance to grow and get that much bigger, which is also a devastatingly frightening thing to think about, that Cooper Flagg could still actually get bigger as an individual in this league. So
wild. Yeah. Him and Lively be 7'4" by the time they're done, because that report Lively's still growing too.
The Duke Mavericks, baby.
That's right.
Duke Mavericks.
The Duke Mavericks. And we'll be covering them every single day, all throughout the offseason and the season. DLS Mavs, great show, great guys. We joke about them a lot, but they're doing good. They're doing good work over there, giving us a run for our money here on Locked On Mavs. So go check out Kevin over there at Kevin Gray Sports on social. Follow me at Nick Van Exit on Instagram and TikTok and all that good stuff. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. We'll be back tomorrow talking about Kobe White for the Mavs. Kobe White for Daniel Gafford. I'm feeling that one. Our Locked On Bulls guys are feeling that too. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Peace out. Boom.